But before we get into questions, I read the filing and I see that you yourself have worked for a variety of Fortune 500 brands, including Disney. You also worked with the NFL Players Association and the NHL. Tell us a little bit about, your experience working with some of these companies.
Sure, no, I appreciate it. I'm 20 years in, let's call it the sports and entertainment space, but really it's 20 years of leading global strategy for several different groups, ranging in that sports and entertainment space. So we've been leaders on strategy for groups like the NHL. We've worked in racing and cricket and a ton of work in international soccer, very substantially again in entertainment and brand and building consumer brands. So we've largely been, how do you build it? How do you grow it? How do you drive revenue for it? So for years, we've been seeing deal flow. We have a unique set of relationships in the marketplace that allow us to feel confident in being able to find a really, really strong funnel coming into the SPAC space as well. We were able to kind of, with that, assemble what we felt was an all-star team going into this SPAC process. But, we're largely, before getting involved in the SPAC, we've been involved on multiple M&A and advisory deals, both of selling teams, being involved in leagues and massive consumer transactions.
Perfect. So, I guess the biggest question out there is, we've seen, hundreds and hundreds of SPACs launch. So, why is Bullhorn launching a SPAC? What's the big purpose here with BHSE?
Sure. So we're a little bit different, I'd like to think. First, we looked at first launching a SPAC back in 2018. So we're an incredibly well-researched team on this. This isn't a new phenomenon. We didn't wake up in 2020 and say, let's do this. We looked at this going all the way back to 2018 and thought the SPAC vehicle was a phenomenal institutional way to bring a company public, to give it the resources that it needed to be successful. And that at the same time, we had truly unique deal flow to be able to do that. My business partner in this, Chris Calise, who's also our CFO, is a brilliant financial strategist. And he really looked at the structure very, very carefully. At the same time, we were predicting that there was going to be a massive inflow of institutional dollars into sports and media. And we are indeed, seeing that in other parts of the market. So we thought by being ahead a little bit, by having real planning, that we'd be able to bring a fantastic company to the public market. We really wanted to also look at companies that were content rich, had super high growth, and that were innovative going into what we think is going to be a highly competitive market.
The things I see is we have a lot of different sports related SPACs out there, and they all vary, in kind of the target area and the size. So, relatively speaking, BHSE is on the smaller size of the money raised in the IPO. How do you, compete with some of these other sports SPACs that are out there searching for similar targets?
Sure. I think we were either the first or second sports SPAC out there, kind of this new wave of them. As far as the size, structure, we believe, is more important than size. And Bullhorn has both the sports and the financial relationships to scale up to a larger deal size. So, really, as you look at it, and it's in our S1, we can do a deal that's anything from $500 million, probably to $1.5 billion, $2 billion. It's really, in this market, very much up to the pipe and very much up to the resources. However, by having a smaller SPAC, it gives us a very nice competitive advantage at the same time, as we really are a more friendly partner for a deal combination. Because we're structured and our size, it benefits our partner coming in. So there's less dilution. So it makes it an easier process for a target company, for an acquisition company to succeed. Really, our goal is to be a fantastic partner. And we take that responsibility very seriously. It's part of why we built a very operational board, and we can discuss that. But we built a highly operational board so that we can bring real resources, not just the investment, but we want to make sure that we're a great partner to any acquisition that we're looking at.
I think that's a great point when we talk about these different deal sizes and the structures. A lot of these private companies probably want to go public for, various reasons, but they also like to keep, majority control and some of that percent ownership. So, the size, I think, definitely, may play into your advantage, as you said. So I see in the filing, targeting, again, the sports, the entertainment side of things. It also mentions sports franchises. I know you you can't give me specifics. Can you just walk, a little bit through, what kind of companies and sectors, are you looking at with that being said?
Sure. I think we're looking at high growth first and foremost. What has real high growth potential, a large addressable market. I think everyone's looking for that kind of TAM, high addressable market, and innovative companies are very important. There's people who are going to harness technology, people who are going to use data and really grow that business. While teams and leagues are obviously a focus for ours and it's an element, the other types of businesses, as far as what are the types of sports, let's call them, whether that's gaming, gambling, or data that get involved in this, are very important. We view sports very much as a platform. I wouldn't say it's go so far as say like an incubator, but where can you operate sport more as a real business and create more growth? And it's something that we've been intimately involved with for years, is creating new revenue channels and more growth for teams, leagues, and brands.
So, in there it said sports and entertainment side of things. Is that, exclusive together, or would you also be looking at, possible entertainment companies outside of the sports world?
Oh, again, we can't get into direct targets, unfortunately, in this. But, it's going to range for us from sports and entertainment to things that combine. I think sports has a real combination of entertainment and things that are content driven and that are media driven as well.
Perfect. So, I want to talk a little bit about a couple names attached to this SPAC. Obviously we've seen the attention, Baron Davis. So former NBA player, he's an advisor here. He's an entrepreneur, investor, and businessman. Can you talk a little bit about, Baron Davis? What value does he bring to this SPAC?
Sure. So, I think Baron joined our board way before, let's call it the celebrity influx of people coming into this. And Baron wasn't added because he's an NBA player. Baron's added, he's a well-known, he's a savvy investor. He's done extremely well on that side of it. He was an early investor in vitamin water. He just did very well in hers deal that went public through SPAC recently. Sees an entirely different deal flow, especially West Coast wise. Very smart, again, very, very savvy, a very creative thinker, and has provided us a host of different resources at the same time.
Perfect. So then another name I see is Michael Gandler. The thing that jumps out to me in the prospectus is he's got a lot of experience in the soccer market. So, relationships with Inter Milan, MLS. And, I know, again, you can't get into specifics, but, you mentioned sports franchises, so we obviously have the 4 major sports here in the U.S., but, are you looking past that possibly to, soccer, esports, some of the other, growing sports leagues?
I don't think there's any team or league that for us is off the table. We've done extensive work internationally and globally on how you build sport, whether that's taking a U.S. sport property and helping build it internationally, or taking international brands and growing them through a global footprint. So we're really comfortable on any side of that if that's a path that we decide to go down. Michael was a lead executive with Major League Soccer. He went through the IMG CLC side on collegiate licensing as well. And then he went and he ran as chief revenue officer for Inter Milan. And so, we wanted somebody who understood real revenue from teams and leagues and a brand perspective as well. It's something that we try to do with our entire board. And when you look at our board, it's highly operational, right? It's not a group that is sitting on top of this and, not working and not involved in deals on a daily basis. Stephen Masters for us, who's former president of Nielsen Sports, both domestically and internationally, has been fantastic. He also is one of the lead consultants for the American Gambling Association. Opens up a whole nother avenue of resources. And so, between those people on our board, Doug Scher and Jeff Wattenberg as well, we feel we have a really fantastic board with a lot of insight. And then underneath that, an entire support system and advisory.